we start actual program with the universal invocation by President Pradeep H. Gohil. Let me introduce our Vice President, Brother N.C. Krishna. He is a long-standing member of the Theosophical Society and originally he belonged to young Theosophist Adair group when he was staying here, and influenced by his maternal uncle, so he joined in the Theosophical Society in his youth, probably at the age of 16. And since then, she is very much active in the Theosophical Society activities, dissemination of Theosophy, popularizing Theosophy in different parts of India. Previously, he was Secretary of Rayalaseema Federation, as well as he was appointed as a National Lecturer of Indian Section in 2014. He writes articles, delivers speeches, conducted study classes, workshops in different parts of India. Now, he is the council member of the Indian section of Theosophical Society, as well as executive body member. And just a few months back, he was appointed as a coordinator for Kerala Federation, and after Kerala Federation problem was sorted out, now he is given the charge for his mother federation, that is Rayalaseema Federation. He is also international speaker and conducted study classes at Singapore. So with this introduction, now I invite Brother Pradeep H. Gohil ji to invoke the universal invocation and share some few thoughts for this 134th Indian Section Convention 2. Welcome, sir.
Good morning, everybody. It's nice to see such a large number that I don't see a single chair vacant. So nice for all of you to come to attend our convention number 2. I request you all to raise your thoughts to higher planes so that we can concentrate on the work that we are here to do together. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. O hidden light, shining in every creature. O hidden love, embracing all in oneness. May each who feels himself as one with thee know he is also one with every other. Please take your seat. It is my privilege to welcome you all to the Indian Section Convention 2. And as you can see, the Indian section is going through a face change. Normally you would have seen people of my age, or even people maybe in their 80s, sitting over here. in Indian Section Convention 2, but the youthful energy has taken that over, and you see so many youngsters over here also. This is what we would like, and I'm sure you are all aware that the Indian section now has about 12% of their members who are young members of the Theosophical Society. I think you have all probably heard, partly at least, that there is going to be an Indo-Pacific Federation conference in Perth, Australia. At the present time, the current president of the Indo-Pacific Federation is Gerard Brennan. But the man who has been after me is the former president. The current president is Richard Sell. But the person who has been after me on this issue is the immediate past president, Gerard Brennan of Australia. And being an Australian, he wants this to be a grand federation meeting in Perth. We are still recovering from the payments we have made for the Vancouver trip. So I don't think there will be any monetary help this time from the Indian section, but we will be glad to organize this. And anyone who would like to first get their visa on their own, do the application on their own, and then if you are ready, you can inform me. I will see how we can get the best price for a group ticket. You know, the group ticket price that we got at Delhi to Vancouver is something that was unheard of. The last ticket that we bought was at 1,09,000 something. 1,09,000 Delhi, Vancouver, Delhi. It was a tremendous deal we got. So we can get a good deal like this. We can help in that. But do write to me at the Indian section, at our email, and I can then register your interest in it, and then do the necessary, do the needful. I hope you will enjoy this Indian Section Convention 2, and if there is anything that you would like to talk to me, that you would like to ask me, I'm going to be available today all the way up to the 6th morning. So please feel free to talk to me. Thank you all for appearing in such large numbers over here. Over to you, Brother Krishna.
Good morning, everyone, dear brothers and sisters. I thank President Pradeep Gohilji for the time given for the youngsters to express their views on the theme which the Indian Section Convention 2 has decided on, which is in close relationship with the overall theme of the convention, reach within to embrace the unity of life. This is the theme, reach within to embrace the unity of life. As you can see, there are 5 speakers. Some are very young, and without wasting much time, without going into the subject myself, I would invite Professor Vani Shree. That's how she has put her name here. And she's teaching pedagogy, if I'm rightly understood. She teaches the methods of teaching to the prospective teachers of high schools and colleges, I guess. She is postgraduate in 3 faculties, and she is a member of the Karnataka Theosophical Federation, having joined the TS at a very early age. She hails from a theosophical family, and she is a good translator of speeches into Kannada. Whatever speeches are given in English, she could do it into Kannada. And she has participated in many study camps held at Bangalore and other places in Karnataka, and also at Bhavali. I request Professor Vani Sree to present And her subject is going to be Serve Humanity by Realizing Unity of Life. I have made a request to all the youngsters who are there, because this is going to be fairly a long session. If we spend more time than 15 minutes, I think it will stretch a bit more. So I thought I requested them to round it off at 13th or 14th minute so that nobody exceeds the 15 minutes duration given. This is something like a symposium or a short talk or a mini talk, as they have titled it in the convention bulletin. So I request Professor Vani Shree to give the presentation, Serve Humanity by Realizing Unity of Life. Vani Shree.
Most respected President of Indian Section, International President in absence, Brother Tim Boyd, and all the dignitaries on the dais and the speakers, members of the Theosophical Society, delegates, brothers and sisters on the path. The theme of the historic 134th Convention and 150th Convention, Reach Within to Embrace the Unity of Life, takes us to the very heart of Theosophy. Today, I would like to reflect on essentially a question, one question: how does realizing the unity of life naturally lead to the serve humanity? In a world divided by nationality, religion, race, ideology, and even species, the Theosophical Society affirms a fundamental truth. Life is one and humanity is one, the consciousness is one. Annie Besant reminds us that this unity is not a poetic ideal. For her, unity is a living strength on which she founded the great branch of Theosophical Order of Service, which is meant to serve all those who are in suffering from all those who are willing to help the society in that manner. So, Annie Besant reminds us that this unity is not a poetic ideal, but a fact of existence. The unity of all life is the foundation of all ethics. This is also a quote by Dr. Annie Besant. When this unity is not perceived, service appears as a moral duty imposed from outside. But when it is realized inwardly, service arises naturally. So long as men think themselves separate, service must be commanded. Then they know themselves one. When they know themselves one, service is inevitable. Again, I quote Annie Besant. Service in the theosophical sense is therefore not merely an external activity, but the natural expression of inner realization. Intellectual acceptance may inspire ethical ideals, but the inward realization of unity transforms conduct. Service becomes spontaneous, unforced, and free from the sense of superiority. Many of the men may say, I believe in unity, but belief alone does not change action. Knowing unity is like reading about fire, while realizing it is like being warmed by these flames. When unity is truly felt, ego-centered living softens, the sense of separatedness fades, and compassion arises naturally. Inner awareness of unity also expands our sense of self. The I is no longer limited to body or mind. Our true self includes family, community, and all living beings. I quote Leadbeater, love is the law of life, all else is illusion. Unquote. Compassion is the natural outcome of this awareness. It is not formed or moralistic. It is not forced also. It arises from recognizing that the well-being of others is inseparable from our own. Suffering anywhere is felt as a shared reality, prompting, understanding, caring, and in ethical action. Compassion, rooted in unity, extends to all living beings and the environment, fostering respect, harmony, and ethical choices in society. True service flows naturally from this inner awareness. It is not charity or duty, it is responding to itself. There is no separation between those who act and those who receive. Meeting the needs of others is also honoring the life within ourselves. So long as, I quote, so long as men think themselves separate, service must be commanded. When they know themselves one, service is inevitable. Dr. Annie Besant again. Service guided by inner unity is done with clarity and insight, without attachment to results or personal gain. Every act, however small, contributes to the greater harmony of life. This selfless service transforms both the individual and society, aligning personal action with the universal flow of life, allowing unity to express itself outwardly. To serve humanity in this way is to become a channel for the one life. Service is the practical form of our spiritual understanding by Radha Varnier. When we reach the inner awareness of truth, we experience all life is one as the ultimate. Consciousness, we allow life to express through us. Inner unity then becomes outer transformation. Each act of kindness and compassion becomes unbound power, quietly uniting humanity beyond all division. Such service is no longer a mere outer action, but an inner experience to transform outer world. The sense of isolated individuality fades, awareness expands to include all life as one. One life, one humanity, one consciousness. May every act of service born to this realization contribute to awakening of humanity as a whole.
Thank you, Professor Vani Shree. One life, one consciousness, that's what she stressed upon. And we have the theosophical order of service to serve humanity is another indication she has given. Intellectual acceptance is only a part. Actually, inward realization of unity is the most important thing. That's what she stressed on. And realizing separateness is a stumbling block. So, this is perhaps a brief summary of what she has given. The second speaker is Ananya Pati from Utkal Federation. She is pursuing her BSc in psychology. She has very keen interest in understanding human behavior and exploring new perspectives through interactions. This is what she has given in her introduction. She is from the Katak Lodge of Utkal Federation, and she is the daughter of Ashutosh Pati, and her grandfather also is there as a delegate in this convention. Ananya Pati.
Respected Chairperson, fellow speakers, dear online listeners, and my beloved brothers and sisters present in the theatre, a very good morning to all of you. So first, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude to our esteemed chairperson for the kind introduction and for giving me this opportunity to address you all. As our previous speaker has nicely spoken a lot on the theme of this session, I would like to add something with my topic, that is perceive life which is within and without. So our topic for today is perceive life which is within and without. The perception of life both within and without is the very essence of theosophical teaching. Every human being lives in two worlds at the same time. First, in the outer world, which we experience with our physical senses, the five sense organs. Second, the inner world. In the inner world, which we experience with our mind, the heart, and the deeper consciousness. So three things, mind, heart, and consciousness, is what makes up the inner world. We must learn to perceive both the life within and the life without. And again, whether it is life within or the life without, life is one. It is not separate, it is interconnected. It seems so very simple in words, but trust me, it is very vast in meaning. In theosophy, the perception is not mere observation or seeing. It is more than that. It is transformative realization. Now you may wonder, what is transformative realization? Transformative realization is the realization that brings forth a transformation in our being for our spiritual progress. So this realization brings forth a transformation which helps us in our spiritual progress. It is often said that the same life which moves in our heart also flows in everything around us. Life exists in every being and in every matter. Theosophy declares that there is no such thing as dead matter. It is only energy at a lower vibration. This idea is also reflected in our universal prayer. O hidden life, vibrant in every atom. The ancient sages in India, they have also taught this truth with a Mahavakya, Tat Tvam Asi. Tat Tvam Asi, which means the life within you is not separate from the life in the universe. So now let us just begin with the life within. Now you may hear people say that look within yourself. What does it mean? What does it mean to look within ourselves? Like, how do we do that? To look within ourselves means is to study our true self. Now, theosophy reveals that we are not mere physical. We are a soul with a temporary body. This soul is the fundamental essence or the core of our being. It is eternal, unchanging, and timeless. So this is why we should look into ourselves, look within ourselves, because this is permanent. It is eternal, unchanging, and timeless. We may call it Atman, or the higher self, or the higher consciousness. This Atman is a tiny part or a spark of this greater universal consciousness. And this Atman, it cannot be perceived with our senses, the five sense organs, and the lower mind. But by meditation, and by silencing all the stress and anxiety in our mind, we may be able to perceive this subtle life force within. Now this life force, this Atman, is what makes us alive. and it is what generates our thoughts and emotions. So this Atman is the backbone of our thoughts and emotions. I know, right? This concept is just too difficult to understand, and as a beginner, I cannot offer to elucidate and explain this complex idea with big words. So let me tell a story. Once, a village schoolmaster placed 2 candles, diya or deepak that we call, on a table. One was made of brass, which was decorated, shining, polished. The other was made of clay, plain, undecorated, simple. And what he did is, he lit them both and asked the villagers, tell me which lamp gives better light. He asked, which lamp gives better light? And guess what happened? The villagers, they started comparing. They argued looking for differences. And suddenly, an old woman came and said, Master, the light within them is the same. Only the form differs. The teacher smiled and said, so it is with life. Only the forms differ. Our bodies, temperaments, culture, languages, I can just go on. They may differ, but the flame within us is one. This recognition is the perception, is the beginning of the theosophical perception of the life within and the life without. But generally, people, they do not recognize this. People are so different that they do not understand each other. I want to lead you to a maternity ward in a hospital. Imagine we all are standing in the maternity ward in a hospital. What would you all see there? So many newborn infants lying in bed, right? Funny thing is, their parents may be of different cultures, they may be having different professions, different languages. And these things of their parents may be added to them in the future. So, aren't they all the same now, the infants? Because they are yet to be divided. Don't you feel the life in them is the same? Are they not expressions of one universal life? But we don't understand this. Why? As our masters say, the world is under the spell of Maya, the illusion of multiplicity. So we don't understand that the one appears as many, but there is only one single truth. We have to perceive this truth behind this veil of illusion or Maya. Just look at the lake, for example. When the water is still in the lake, doesn't it reflect the world perfectly? It does, right? But if the water is disturbed, everything gets distorted. Our consciousness is like the lake. If we make our inner water still, we can see the nature as it truly is. We can see the world as it is. But if our inner life is confused, our outer life becomes troubled. If the inner life is peaceful, the outer life is also harmonious. So we can now say, to perceive life within is to develop that clear insight. And to perceive life without is to apply that clarity to the world in the form of service, seva. Such perception has a very significant practical implication. That is realization of universal brotherhood. Now we are there. So, behind this veil of illusion or Maya, the truth is that we are already united by this one life that, whether or not we recognize it, this one life unites us. A single story illustrates this. During a storm, a man saw his neighbor's roof collapsing. During a storm, this man saw his neighbor's house collapsing. Without even thinking, he ran out in the rain, climbed the neighbor's house, and started fixing the tiles. People asked, they inquired, why did you risk your own safety to save another, to help another, your neighbor? He said, I wasn't helping my neighbor. I was protecting my own house because his roof is connected to mine. Both his well-being, his trouble affects mine. So here we learn that no human beings can rise alone. Life is to be shared. Life is interconnected. It is interconnected. When we perceive this inner unity, brotherhood becomes spontaneous. We don't try to love. Love flows naturally. Let us therefore strive in our daily life to deepen this perception and gradually let the light within to illuminate the life without. May we become instruments of that one life that flows within us, that binds us, that inspires us, and leads us to the realization of this universal brotherhood. May we know we are one with every other. Thank you.
She has made the following points which I have noted down. 5 senses we use to see the outer world. We use the heart and mind to perceive life within. And the mind has to be still if we have to observe the unity. Transformative realization is very important, and meditation helps us to transform ourselves. Already formed, we transform ourselves. Look within. Soul is the core permanent being. Find out the core permanent being is the soul. Life is the same, form differs. Forms differ. And then life within should light the life without. Thank you, Ananya. The next speaker is Sharayu Wagdeo. Have I pronounced it right? Yeah. She is an executive member of the Nagpur Lodge, Dhantoli, Maharashtra. She comes from Marathi Theosophical Federation. And all these youngsters are members of the World Federation of Young Theosophists, like we were once upon a time. So she's a core team member. She has participated in a lot of youth camps at Bhavali, at Nagpur, at Amaravati in Maharashtra. And she has acted as H.P. Blavatsky in one of the one-act plays which was enacted in the Theosophical Federation Convention. So she delivered many online lectures correlating Bhagavad Gita and Theosophy. Now we will have Sharayu Wagdeo.
Good morning and namaste. Respected Linda ji, International President Mr. Tim Boyd, Vice President Sister Deepa ji, esteemed co-speakers, dignitaries of the dais, and my dear brothers and sisters. Before I begin, I offer my respectful pranam to my parents. I remain deeply grateful to the Indian section, especially to Brother Pradeep ji Gohil, Brother Pradeep ji Mahapatra, and Mr. Chairman N.C. Krishna ji for blessing me this opportunity. Today I am going to speak on the topic, will embracing the unity of life help in transforming our society? Before we speak of unity, it is important to ask a question. Why is transformation necessary? Is society not already transformed? Yes, but only outwardly. We have transformed our technologies, our industries, our comforts, and our speed of living. But inwardly, has the human mind transformed? Has the heart evolved? Despite all outer progress, jealousy, loneliness, emptiness still remain. So long as this inner transformed human being can truly embrace unity. For unity is not a policy, it is a state of being. Once the student asked a teacher, "Where does unity begin?" A teacher smiled and replied, "Not in society, not in nations, not even in relationships. True unity begins in the heart of a human being who discovers that all life is sacred." When humanity forgets this truth, conflict is born. Whenever even one person remembers it, healing begins. This simple teaching reveals a profound message. Transformation always begins within. As I contemplated this inner truth, another memory arose, a reminder that unity is not something we create, it is something we recognize. It is already present, waiting to be uncovered. And in that moment, a sacred verse from the Bharat Samaj Puja rose gently in my mind. Om Ardram Jwalati Jyotirramasmi Jyotirjwalati Brahma Amasmi Yo Amasmi Brahma Amasmi Ahamasmi Brahma Amasmi Ahameva Juhomi Swaha. It uncovers a hidden truth within. As I realize my attachment into the radiance of inner light, I become purified. In this growing purity, my being naturally inclines toward the union with Brahma. The Atman within me is of the same essence as the infinite. And in this recognition, I offer my whole self to the Supreme Reality. And in simple words, just as Brahma flows through this entire universe, in the same way, my very body flows through the essence of Brahma. And that same Brahma principle, which fills the cosmos, is present within me, within this very body. The unity we seek is not somewhere. Unity stops appearing as a philosophical idea and starts revealing itself as an inner experience. We begin to sense that our inner world and the outer world are not two separate realities. They are constantly influencing one another. A peaceful heart brings peace into its surrounding. A restless mind spreads subtle tension wherever it goes. A sincere intention silently nurtures the atmosphere around it. To deepen this unity, the sixth mantra of the Isha Upanishad reveals this truth with clarity. Yasmin sarvani bhutanyat maiva bhut vijanatah tatra ko mohah kah shokah ekatvam anupashyatah. This mantra does not describe unity. It speaks from unity. When a seeker truly observes that all beings are one's own self, the roots of moha and shoka disappear, because both are born from the illusion of separateness. the one who senses ekatva, the unity of all life, lives in a state where nothing is other. There is no fear, no conflict, no hatred. Compassion becomes natural because one sees oneself in every being. Blissful state becomes natural because nothing is outside that oneself. As the ancient teacher declared, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, the whole world is one family. Ekatva is not merely a philosophical insight, it is an inner vibration that subtly transforms the way we look at life. If we become inwardly still, even for a moment, we may sense that there is a silent thread running through all being. A thread that connects, nourishes, and unites. It is not seen with the eyes, it felt with the heart. A kind thought brightens more than one mind. A harsh emotion disturbs more than one environment. What we experience within is not personal, it radiates into the whole. Theosophy tells us that all existence, from the smallest atom to the highest deva, is an expression of one infinite life. H.P. Blavatsky wrote in A Secret Doctrine, there is no dead matter, it is all living. The whole universe is alive, pulsating with the same divine energy. What our ancient sages called as the Brahma, the eternal, the boundless. We are not separate individuals. We are sparks of the same divine fire, rays of the same one reality. And all differences of caste, color, religion, and nationality are illusions created by the unawakened mind. This is why the first object of the society is to form a nucleus of universal brotherhood without distinction. Unity is not a concept, it is a law of life. If unity is truly the law of life, then it asks something very fundamental. It asked us to observe not the world but ourselves. In moment of quiet honesty, we may notice how easily the sense of I becomes rigid and how quickly it defends, compares, separates, and seeks importance. And how quietly, almost without our noticing, the feeling of otherness is born. Separation does not begin in society, it begins as a moment of the thought within consciousness. And every time that moment goes unexamined, it shapes our relationships and our world. Unity is not achieved by effort, it is revealed when this moment of separation is being seen clearly and allowed to dissolve. When the mind grows quiet enough to listen rather than react, and when the heart softens enough to include rather than exclude, something ancient within us awakens. And in that awakening, we do not feel united, we are united. Not an idea, but as a living perception. And from that perception, right action flows naturally. Without force, without fear, without division. Real transformation begins the moment our awareness shifts from me to we. Unity is not metaphysical, it is practical. It is how we look at others. To embrace unity means accepting people as they are, without expectations, cultivating non-violence, selflessness, altruism, and sympathy for our younger brothers and sisters in evolution. God has a plan, and that plan is evolution. Everything and every being is evolving. slowly unfolding its divinity. This insight becomes even clearer when we turn to the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, 29th shlok. Sarvabhutasthamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. The yogi of steady mind sees the self in all being and all being in the self. To such a person, the whole universe becomes a single family. The saint and the sinner are seen as an expression of the same consciousness. The visible and invisible world are woven together. When one recognizes the same divine life flows through every form, conflict becomes impossible. Fear has no place and love becomes certain. This is not philosophy, it is transformation. In At the Feet of the Master, in the chapter of love, it is written, by growing in love, you grow towards unity with all. Love is the fragrance of the one life. When love awakens, unity becomes visible. When unity becomes visible, service becomes natural. To live in unity is to live with the awareness that every thought affects the whole. Every emotion colors the atmosphere, and every action contributes to humanity's evolution. This is self-discipline, not separation, but as a sacred responsibility. When the illusion of separateness loosens its grip, unity reveals itself effortlessly. And where unity is truly seen, conflict has no soil to grow in. Hatred cannot survive, division cannot persist. Human relationship becomes pathway of understanding, and nations become bridges of cooperation rather than walls of identity. The ancient dream of rishis begin to unfold, not as a political union, but as a spiritual realization that humanity is one life, guided by love, peace, and wisdom. In this sacred gathering, may we remember the truth declared by sages, affirmed by scriptures, and lived by the great teachers. There is one life. We are that life. And all beings are the expressions of that one. May our heart becomes a pure instrument of divine plan of evolution. May we become humble channels of love, compassion, and light. And as we return to our daily lives, may a quiet remembrance stay with us. A remembrance that gently transforms how we see ourselves and how we see the world. You are the world, and the world is within you. Thank you. Namaste.
Thank you, Sharayu. She started with a question, will embracing unity of life help in transforming our society? And she answered, transformation begins from within. Unity is there in the heart. The same life and consciousness is there in me and Brahman. All beings are one united. Sarvabhuta nivasosi. She talked about the doctrine of the heart slightly in different words. And she also talked about forming the nucleus. Stay in action and not in reaction. There's another very important statement she made. Awareness shifts from me to we. There is a God's plan, there is a divine plan. Thank you, Sree. The next speaker is Sagi Sree Hari Varma, and he is a filmmaker. He is the first Indian alumnus of the ASCA Gold Fellowship. He directs commercials, documentaries, and fiction short films. He has done a film on FIFA World Cup, United Nations, and short film titled The Fool shot at Warner Brothers Studios. The Fool shot at Warner Brothers Studios, Los Angeles. His recent short film, Signal, was the most awarded short film at the film festival in Italy. And he was felicitated with the Ministry of the Cinematography, Andhra Pradesh, recently. Hari Varma also is a member of the Young Theosophists group, and he is a member of the Adyar Lodge. Hari Varma.
If I speak in the tongues of men and angels but have no love, I'm only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all the mysteries and knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move a mountain but have no love, I'm nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and surrender my body to the flame but have no love, I give nothing. These are the words by Paul the Apostle. President of the Indian section, Pradeep Gohilji, Mr. Chairman, thank you for your kind introduction. Esteemed delegates, my friends attending this historic convention. Thank you, Mr. Pradeep Mohapatra ji, for this honor and your unwavering support of the youth community. The topic I stand here to share my views on is how love and compassion help realize the unity of life. When I first accepted this invitation, I felt a sense of ease. It sounded like a beautiful, straightforward sentiment, the kind of a thing that we all agree on. I thought I'll find a few moving stories, do a bit of research, maybe use a chatbot to glue it all together in an eloquent manner, and I'll be ready. But as I began to prepare, I hit a wall. I felt a deep internal resistance. Lots of self-debating, questioning, and doubts later, I came to a realization that is quite terrifying to admit while standing at this podium. No, I do not believe that love and compassion can help us realize the unity of life. Kindly bear with me. The talk is actually about how I stumbled upon a new script while I was busy failing to write the old one. To find my way back into this talk, I sought refuge in our roots, our founding objectives, now 150 years old. I looked closely at the text. I realized that our objectives do not mention love. They do not mention compassion. For that matter, they do not mention feelings or virtues at all. They are a call for unity as a fact, not a feeling. The society views the universal brotherhood of humanity not just as a social club or a moral aspiration, but as a fact in nature, because all life is interconnected. Love and compassion are not ladders we climb to reach unity. They are the natural, inevitable expressions of that unity. Our founders didn't start with a feeling, they started with a reality. I'm a filmmaker. In my world, we create magic, but that magic is actually rooted in physical architecture of the human brain. An architecture that's designed to blur the boundaries between the viewer in the seat and the character on the screen. Think about the last time you sat in a darkened cinema. You're in a plush chair, perfectly safe. On the screen, there's nothing but flickering shadows and pulses of light. Yet, when a character on that screen loses a dear one, you weep. When a hero hangs from a cliff by his fingernails, your palms sweat, your heart races. Why? Your conscious mind knows it's a movie, yet your body insists you're on that cliff. The answer lies in a neurological miracle called mirror neurons. This is what I call neural Wi-Fi. The protagonists cry, your brain runs a total internal simulation of that grief. In that dark cinema, the boundary between the self and other dissolves. This proves that altruism isn't a moral add-on we often see it as, but it is a biological imperative. Separation is a learned behavior. unity is the hardware. This biological reality has been echoed by the greatest giants of spirituality all across space and time. The greats who took this hardware to its fullest potential. Their revelations are rooted in arts, sciences, and philosophy. Jiddu Krishnamurti spoke of the observer becoming the observed, the total collapse of the wall between the self and the world. He wasn't just talking about a philosophy. He was talking about a state of being where me no longer stands apart from the you. Then there is the sage of Arunachala, Ramana Maharshi. When his ashram was attacked by thieves and his disciples were being beaten, bruises began to appear on Maharshi's own body. To the horror of his followers, his skin reacted to the blows dealt to others. When asked how he could be bruised when the others were being struck, he simply smiled and said, "There are no others." H.P. Blavatsky wrote of the fundamental identity of all the souls. She didn't say we should strive to be identical. She said we are identical. Oneness is not an achievement. It is an underlying state that we simply fail to notice because we are distracted by the clanging cymbals of the ego. We don't need a cinema screen or be a sage to see this. We only need to look at our own bodies. Right now, trillions of cells in our bodies are working in breathtaking unison. They don't do this because they love each other in a sentimental way or because they are practicing a daily meditation on compassion. They act in harmony because for them there is no boundary of separateness. The health of the lung is the health of the heart. Separation. But what happens when a group of cells forget this unity? They begin to act as individual clusters. They consume resources greedily. They multiply at the expense of the organism. We have a name for that: cancer. Separation is like the cancer of humanity. When we think of ourselves as separate, we are acting like rogue cells. We are attacking the very body of the divine that sustains it. If my left hand is wounded, my right hand doesn't help because it is practicing compassion. It doesn't act because it loves the left hand. It helps because it is a part of the same body. To leave the left hand bleeding would be to leave itself bleeding. When I see a homeless child hungry on the street, if I truly realize this unity of life, I do not act and share my bread because I'm a compassionate person. I share it because that hunger is my own. I share it because in that child I'm hungry too. We often treat love and compassion as virtues we must painstakingly install like software updates, but they're not add-ons. They are innate. The real add-ons, the glitches in our software, are hatred, anger, and the illusion of ego. The path towards realizing the unity of life is not a path of adding more virtues. It is a path of letting go. When we let go of the ego's frantic need to be separate, unity of life will dawn upon us as a revelation. Love and compassion are not the tools to reach unity. They are the symptoms of a person who has realized the unity of life. As we celebrate 150 years of our society, let us look at the theme of this convention: one world, one life, the spirit of a new humanity. A new humanity is a humanity that has finally cured the cancer of separation. It is a humanity that recognizes there's only one life beating in every heart and one life sustaining every breath. When we realize this one spirit, we will find that we don't need to strive. Love will be as natural as breathing, and compassion will be as automatic as a heartbeat. Thank you.
Thank you, Hari. How love and compassion help to realize the unity of life was his subject. And he said the following things: unity is a fact in nature, life is interconnected, how one is affected by movies and characters in movies and the emotions portrayed by characters is something he talked about because as a movie maker, and the neurons, they respond and they react. Altruism is a biological imperative. That's a powerful statement. Altruism is doing something without any expectation whatsoever. So he talked about the observer and the observed of Jiddu Krishnamurti both becoming one. And he also talked about Ramana Maharshi, where he said there are no others. And the cells and body are in perfect harmony. When there is inharmony, we have that separateness and perhaps that cancer which we dread. Life is all about sharing, and it will become better. The life will become better if we let the ego go. Let go the ego. That's perhaps the statement he made. Then we have now the last speaker, Mrs. Shobha Prakash. She had the schooling at Kathmandu and Pobandar in Gujarat, and she completed her schooling and graduation from Vaishnav College for Women in Chennai, Madras, and she is a postgraduate in English literature and also accomplished in law. She is also someone who has learned Bharatanatyam and Carnatic music, and she has participated in various competitions in the fine arts, and she is a member of the Kannur Theosophical Lodge of the Kerala Federation, and presently she is the Secretary of the Kerala Theosophical Federation. Mrs. Shobha Prakash, she will talk on Seek the Truth by Retreating Within.
Sisters and brothers, Namaste. Seek the truth by retreating within is a topic for the session. Seeking the truth is a principal foundation of the teachings of the Theosophical Society. The Society is interested in hastening the evolution of humanity in order to bring about peace, understanding, and harmony in the world through the recognition and realization of the unity of all things and beings in the universe. The motto of the Theosophical Society is, "There is no religion higher than truth." All its activities are centered on the predominant aim of finding the truth, and therefore its teachings are focused on the realization of the truth, the divine wisdom, which is the absolute truth, the unity of life. Therefore, the field of activity is the mind. Truth exists in several layers of consciousness, beginning from the gross material level of consciousness to the subtlest and ultimate consciousness of the absolute truth. Truth of one particular realm of consciousness is a reality of that particular realm of consciousness. Truth in the lower state of consciousness appears as unreal and an illusion when viewed from a higher state of consciousness. Now, as the state of consciousness becomes subtler and subtler, purer and purer, culminating in the ultimate, as absolute reality, truth varies in grossness in the various realms. Therefore, there is no untruth. There is only lesser truth. It has no beginning and no end. Space does burnt. Wars and
You simply watch someone else do it. How evolution,
which universal brotherhood is a reality. It is said, it is nearer than the nearest and farther than the farthest. So, how are we to fathom it? What is the instrument through which the truth can be known? Can it be either seen or observed through a microscope or a telescope? To the seer does not require any instrument. Here, the object and the subject are one and the same. The instrument of perception, that is also the seer. Why? Because the seer's true self is the consciousness by which alone he is able to experience all his mental and intellectual experiences. I am conscious that I am speaking, and you are also conscious that you are listening. All this because of the presence of this consciousness in you and me. With it, we are alive, and without it, we are gone. Only the body is gone, but consciousness will go on and on in eternity. But to be aware of one's consciousness, one has to evolve, consciously evolve through spiritual practices in order to transcend the lower state of consciousness beyond the body, beyond the mind, and beyond the intellect, and awaken one's intuition, the all-knowing faculty of the soul. For this, the seeker's mind must be a pure mind. And what is a pure mind? A mind that has got rid of all the egocentric desires, attachment to the world outside, a mind that has no jealousy, no sense of competition, no pride, a mind that is altruistic in attitude, with gratitude above all, gratitude, loving kindness, and its attention directed towards the truth at all times is a pure mind. It is necessary for the seeker to use his ability of discernment, discrimination, also known as viveka, even in small actions, so that it becomes his nature to understand and distinguish the real from the unreal. That is at Viveka Shakti. Only that which is real is permanent, that will give joy, while the impermanent things, they give pleasures, of course, but only suffering and misery at the end. The ability to quieten the mind is very important, because only then there will be clarity of understanding and work will be productive and creative. The ability to control the vagaries of the mind, the ability to endure cheerfully all situations with equanimity, a strong conviction in the truth of the teachings, ability to withdraw the senses from all attachment to the world outside, the ability to reflect and contemplate on the truth, reflect on the teachings and contemplate on the truth, and abide in that state of consciousness. These are the essential qualities or qualifications required to be successful on the path. Uncompromisingly adhering to these principles, the seeker should be regular and consistent, and this will help him in meditation. All these abilities and refined qualities are already in him because he is intrinsically divine. But the I-ness, the feeling that I am doing, that I-ness, that ahankar, is the barrier between the divine self and his own self. Once the ahankar is uprooted, truth reveals itself to the seeker. He has the darshan of the ultimate truth. He realizes that the absolute truth and his self are one and the same. When this state of consciousness becomes his nature, he becomes liberated, a Jivan Mukta. Liberated even while he is in the body. And to such a one, universal brotherhood is a reality of the truth, And to him, theosophy is an experiential knowledge. And such a one lives not for himself. He doesn't live for himself alone, but he lives to help others. Namaste.
Thank you, Shobhaji. Her subject was seek the truth by retreating within. Why do we have to retreat within? To recognize the unity of all. Unity of life is the ultimate truth. Consciousness is becoming subtler, lighter and lighter. No beginning and no end for that. It is ananta, unending. Supreme consciousness is silent, but we are surrounded by that consciousness which is silent. Universal brotherhood is a reality, and she also quoted object and observer is the same. Evolve consciously, this is her appeal. Pure mind is the desireless mind, and that mind also should, perhaps the individual should cultivate that gratitude and viveka to choose between real and unreal, and vairagya to withdraw all the senses and remain with that truth which is ultimate. Theosophy, she said, is experiential wisdom. That's Shobha's contribution. And already it's more than 1 hour. I will not take much time and make you wait. As everybody has said, the theme of the 150th International Convention is One World and One Life, and this theme chosen by the Indian Second Convention also is in line with that. There are 3 operative words in the theme which we have chosen. Reach within, that's the first one. To embrace, the second one. The unity of life, the third one. So there are 3 operative phases. The question is it possible to get closer to unity of life by looking within? That's the problem. If so, what is the process? Looking within, how do we do it? Normally we are trained from the time we are born to look outward with our charma chakshu, as we call it, the physical eyes, at the various things and various beings. And that is how we exist in this outer world. But I'll tell you a small story, like Sharayu narrated a couple of stories, and Ananya also said a couple of stories. There was a king by name Parikshit, and he heard the Srimad Bhagavatam in 7 days because that was all the time he had to live. And he wanted to listen and understand. But that's one part of it. But when he was born, he was looking and observing at everything with a lot of keenness. That's why he was named Parikshit, the one who could examine so thoroughly. So he is called Pariksha, means examine. So that was the king Parikshit. If that is the way we would like to see, we may miss the bus. We will not see the core truth. But how do we go about doing it? So we look within, and the world outside, of course, gives us a lot of excitement, a lot of ideas, a lot of things to remember in our memory and all that. But we have at another eye, which is called the mano chakshu, the mental eye. And that is an eye which uses the faculty of the mind. Even that eye normally sees using the operative mind or the lower elementary principles of the mind. So it divides, distinguishes, compares to understand anything and everything. But that person will not be able to see the unity when he is looking at the various objects in separate existence. But if one trains to see differently using the higher faculty of the mind, On observing, he will experience vast expanse and stretches of clear, pure, bright unity. At this juncture, time is not relevant. There is no time, there is no yesterday, there is no tomorrow. Simply that one time which is existing, which is that particular moment, which is eternal. It is everlasting. What more happens when we look within is we develop clarity of the mind. So that clarity is of very high order, and that clarity paves way for simplicity. A person can become simple when he has real clarity as to how he should conduct himself. So clarity paves way for simplicity, and that person who has mastered living the simple way of living, he is transformed into a very simple person, and that simplicity paves way to homogeneity, and then no extra projections there, everything is holistic, and then that paves way, that homogeneity paves way for divinity. So then it becomes one with everything. That's exactly what Judge S. Arundel has talked about, the Kundalini, and Pandit Gopi Krishna talked about the Kundalini. What happens to a person who identifies himself with everything around? So this is perhaps the way which we have to look within, not depend on the lower faculty of our mind, but propel ourselves up to see and live with the higher mind. So I found all the people, all the speakers were very, very nice, and they stuck to the time, and there was interconnected, all the people were talking. If you compare or put up all those speeches together, it will become one nice article. So it was wonderful. I thank each speaker individually, and I thank the Indian section for giving the opportunity for me to be the chairperson of this session. Thank you. This session is closed.